So preparing for your basic stance in Qigong. So any movement practice, whether that may be yoga or Qigong, there's always a particular way in which we find our way into standing. And this is always really quite intentional because both practices, whether it be yoga or Qigong, have a particular way in which we want to guide and direct energy flow through our body. So if you are a yoga practitioner, you'll be quite used to a particular way of standing in Tadasana. If you are a Qigong practitioner or new to Qigong, it'll take a little bit of a while to get used to a different way of standing. So to begin with, we space our feet a little wider than our hips, just a little bit wider. And to find the best guide for your space, we take our two hands together and we make sure that the outside edge, the pinky fingers, the outside edge of the pinky fingers sits just on the edge of our knee. So that becomes our space. So it's a little wider than what you might normally be used to. That is where we begin our space for our feet. Then we make sure that the feet, the toes, are facing ahead and parallel. This helps to just distribute the weight evenly over the sole of our foot. Then we want to keep a little bit of space, open space through the joint sites. So something that is quite relevant in our Qigong practice is that Qi can stagnate at the joint sites, and as it is a soft, moving and flowing practice, we want to bring a little bit of space in at the joint sites. So where you might like to focus is at the back of the knee, in and around the wrist, in and around the elbow, in and around the shoulders, even in and around the jaw just a little bit. So once we have our feet to the ground, straight and parallel, with a very soft space at the back of the knees, then we open our arms out to the side. So there's always a little bit of space in our posture. So the hands are facing in toward our body, but they're a little bit spaced out. So there's like a feeling of inflating a balloon through the center of your body. We open out to the side. The roundness through the elbows and a broadness through the heart space. Imagine that your fingertips are floating. So even though the fingertips are pointing down to the ground, they're not rigid or stretched out. There's a little soft spot in the center of your palm, which we call the Lao Gong. Imagine there's a little eye in the center of your palm and a little bit of like a cup, very slight cupping into the center of your palm. And these eyes, the eyes are open, they face in toward your body. Allow a little bit of space between your fingertips. So a little bit of space just like that between your fingertips. So one of my teachers, she described it as having grapes in between your fingertips. Then we keep the arms nice and open. And another analogy from another teacher is to have little eggs underneath your arms. So just small eggs underneath your arms. So we have the softness through the joints. The toes are facing parallel and ahead. Then we come to focus on, there's a little space at the front of the hips. So just sort of around here, the front of the hips. This region is called the Qua. And this space, a little similar to the two eyes in the center of our palm, we want to have the eyes open in the Qua space, the Qua region. So take your breath in, closing your eyes. The arms are floating a little away from the body, eggs underneath the armpits, a softness through the joint sides, openness through the hips, and a slight drawing up through the crown of your head, very slight and subtle. Then we soften. We slow down our breath. we begin to tune in. In Qigong, the energy that we work with when we're cultivating Qi, this is called Soong. So it's S-O-N-G, Soong. And this energy is about softness and openness to receive. The softness in our body allows us to prepare for flow and directional energy or intentional energy direction of Qi to move through our body. So let's just take a moment, just a couple of breaths in and out. Weight very slightly toward the toes. Closing down your eyes. Breathing in and breathing out. Allowing Soong in your body softness. I'll guide you through one round of opening the Qi gates. We turn our palms slightly forward. We keep that softness through our whole entire body. We raise the arms up in a circle above our head. We lift our gaze up to the ceiling. Then we close the space in between the fingers very slightly, like we're pushing and sweeping down over the front of the body, all the way down from heaven to earth. We would do this 3 times, but I'll just do once for today. So 3 times to open our practice, 3 times to close our practice. In closing, we normally place one hand on top of the other, just like that, on the lower dantian, which is to seal the energy in. We don't do this at the beginning of practice because we're opening the Qi gates. When we close, this is how we finish out our space. I'm really looking